I want to welcome you to another episode of the WARZONE and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in, because without you guys, I would not have a show, and it's a blessing, man. I'm running almost 3 years deep doing this thing. Started as a fad during the pandemic, and has really taken me places that I could never imagine. Make sure you tune in next week, because if you have the desire to be a politician, I think you need to have some nuts. And I'm going to have the man himself from Flint, Michigan, Council Member Eric Mays. Y'all know him, the one be going off in the city council. He going to be here next week. So you don't want to miss that. Hold on a second. Change my privacy. Okay. So tonight we have a young lady. I saw a video that she did last night, and we became fast friends. And she's straight out of Fifth Ward. She's a taxpayer in Fifth Ward. She has some grave concerns about how the takeover is going to affect Wheatley. But you know what? She's an average parent and a taxpayer, because there are things that she didn't know about this whole takeover thing that I laced up on the game over a 3-hour conversation. So what I want you to do is I want you to push the share button. And I want you to share this out there, because it's things that y'all don't know that we're going to give you the info on. And matter of fact, Tasha Jackson, you can pack your stuff. She says she's running for City Council, District B, and the game finna change out there in Fifth Ward, Texas, because enough is enough. I want to welcome my guest, Kendra London. How you doing, Kendra?
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So tell them about your run for City Council and District B.
So I decided I feel compelled to run for District B due to the hands-on experience of hardships and barriers that I faced within District B. So I was born and raised in Fifth Ward. I will always live in Fifth Ward. I will not be displaced. And I advocate for fair housing, economic development, community engagement, environmental and racial justice.
All right, that's a little background on it. I saw a video that you did last night, and you started out by yourself, and before you know it, you had my good friend, grassroots soldier Nikki Kaz on there with you. And then all of a sudden, I seen the board member from District 2, Kathy Buford Daniels, on there. And as I'm watching this video, because I didn't watch it live, I'm watching this video, and you're trying to get a clear understanding of what's going on with this takeover and all this stuff. And I sat there and I heard some inconsistencies. I've never said anything publicly, but I heard some inconsistencies. So tonight, you're just like everybody else. You're a taxpayer whose voice has not been heard in this matter, and doesn't look like they want to hear our voices. But that's okay, because we have the ability to create our own venues, and we're not going to be quiet. So as you were listening to HISD trustee Kathy Buford Daniels, what was going through your mind? I mean, because you were asking some very informative questions. You were trying to figure out what's going to happen to Wheatley, or how does this takeover work? What was going through your brain?
I wanted to know what was the what options did the community have? What options did Wheatley have? And I was told that there were only two options, which was to close down the school or allow TEA to take over. So with those two options, and with the information being given so late to the community, I felt compelled to ask those in position, what does that really mean? Close the school or close the school or keep the board, basically. So I feel like the children have been under resourced. The parents have been left out of vital conversations. So the answer was clear from Miss Kathy Buford Daniels. You only have two options, and basically it's done. The TEA is gonna take over the schools. Now we got to figure out if they're gonna take over, if they're gonna close it or keep the board.
Well, the thing is, and as we were talking this morning, and you were very receptive to me, didn't know me, but we ended up having the conversation
Right.
that the option is not the Houston Independent School District. The
Mm-hmm.
option is not the Houston Independent School District. One, these trustees, they seem to always not tell us everything. Some of them, they'll always forget to tell us something, you know. And these kids are not being serviced, like you said. Now I'm gonna drop one on you because I didn't drop it on you today.
Okay.
They forgot to tell us that a few months ago they renewed the superintendent's contract for an extra year. The man that ain't doing jack shit for our children, but yet they renewed him for a whole nother year. See, if you're gonna be a public servant and a
Mm.
politician, why don't you bring this to us? But see, they think they're smarter than us. So tonight I'm gonna step on some toes, and I don't give a damn if they don't like me or not. You're trying to figure out what is going on with this school district. What's going on with a takeover? Tonight is one of the rare board meetings that I decided not to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to listen to a board member and then you tell me if Gary Monroe's been wrong the whole time I've been talking to you. This is from
Okay.
tonight.
Okay.
Santos. Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to say thank you to my colleagues for always being there for our kids and our communities and to the community. We fought for our students, parents, and communities' right to democratic voice for the last 5 years. We had 2 elections during that time. We had all of our schools achieve passing ratings and did it through a global pandemic. But we finally lost at the Supreme Court, and we don't have any procedures left to push our case. This battle is over, but our fight for democracy and public education will never be over. It is time for the community to come together. We win by uniting our voices at the legislature and our neighborhood schools and at the ballot box. I'm sorry, y'all.
Santos.
So what you think about the takeover? Let me say this before you say anything because you look shocked. They don't have no options. They don't have any options.
Mm.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to serve Wheatley up to save their seats. Like me and you were talking today, you say we're going to save 9 to mess over 900.
That makes no sense. I wouldn't sacrifice 900 kids to save 9 individual volunteer positions.
Well, here's the thing. When you have ulterior motives, you would save those 9. When there's something else that has to go on, when there's money to be made under the table, yes, I'm coming for y'all tonight, man. When there's money to be made under the table, when there's a bond to be pushed so that y'all can get billions of dollars off of, you would sacrifice those 900 kids because you never gave a damn about them in the first place. You never cared about the Fifth Ward community. That's why everybody that's not a part of Fifth Ward, that's a politician and a pastor, they got something to say. But the people that live there, you're not talking to them. You're not talking to them.
Even when it comes to the bonds, I've always been confused about those bonds. To me, a couple years ago, they were in a community to ask us to vote for bonds, $1 million bonds. And when I was at Wheatley, we were using books that were given to us from other people that have used those books. So if they could care less about our materials, why would they care about our building being sufficient? And when I was in school, the school faced Market Street, which was the same way that it faced when my entire family graduated from Wheatley. Today, when my son attended Wheatley, it faced Providence. So I've always said that school being renovated should have been a signal to let us know that we were soon to be displaced. Those bonds were put in place and to be voted on. Now, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, correct me. Those bonds were put in place to allow those that are poverty stricken to say what we need. So when the new residents arrive, they wouldn't have to pay the taxes to renovate it. That was just my observation, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure, but that's the way that it looks. So even when it comes to the administration, our administration for those kids have changed yearly. When I was in school, I knew I was going to see Coach Walker. I knew I was going to see Miss Trahan. I knew I was going to see Miss Green. I knew the staff that I would see next year. These children change staff members yearly, every year. So if they're not being rendered the proper resources or the proper administration, how do we expect them to succeed?
But, and I totally agree, but why should we consider getting behind and supporting a board that is not being straight up with us? If you're going to renew the superintendent's contract, when were you going to come to the community and tell us?
And what is the point of renewing the superintendent's contract if you don't have the answer if they're going to keep the board or not?
Well, you know, the bottom line is it's a lot of games and some chicanery that is going on. But that's part of the reason we're in the situation that we're in today. Because we've gotten the wrong representation. You have people that are not there to represent teachers and students. You have people that are there to represent their political interests and the people that give them the money. And now our kids will go through hell. Some of them won't survive. And literally speaking, some of them will die because they're not going to get on buses and go to the other sides of town. A lot of these kids will become victims of crime in the streets. And the people that did it, they just go off and try to run for something else. They go off and try to run for something else. I've never seen so many people that could be so selfish and only care about themselves. It's not about no kids. Because at this moment, there's nothing that they can do. Carol Alvarado and Boris Mile filed a bill and none of that matters. You're not going to get it through. It's not going to come out the committee. And more importantly, the governor ain't going to sign it. Even if it passes, the governor ain't going to sign it. So the thing is where we are right now, we were strategically placed there. But not by white people. Not by the governor of Texas, nor the lieutenant governor or the TEA commission. Phyllis Wheatley is being sold out right now by the same black people that stand in front of us and say that they're fighting for it. That's what it is. Now, the only thing they can do is try to persuade TEA to take over Wheatley. Because you can't save the board members and save Wheatley. It's not possible. Not the way the law's written. Now, TEA doesn't have to do anything. But yet I showed you some stuff this morning.
Yeah.
You know, and I tried to tell people that these folks done changed the game up. They changed the cut score on the CCMR numbers, college career military readiness. They changed the cut scores. So if our cut score was a 47, it's now 80. It's not 80. So if we ain't got 80% of them kids signing up for this thing, and I'm trying to make it simple for you guys, I may be saying it wrong, but that's the simplest way to get it. We don't have 80% of our kids in our school signing up for the military, then your CCMR numbers are going to be wrong. So imagine this. If Wheatley numbers stayed the same across the board from last year, they don't change, and the cut scores go up this year, Wheatley would be a failing school. I told y'all Wheatley's not going to pass. But see, I'm just dumb Gary Monroe. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm trustee number 10. I just don't sit on the Diaz. This, and I'm like Kendra, and I want you to really expound on that. They knew this, but they never came to the community to tell people. And now you want to have a rally Saturday in front of Wheatley at 6:30 at night, the time of day that you can get your hat toe off in Fifth Ward. And you wanna come have a rally now, another rally. You cannot fix this. Your old Negro spirituals ain't gonna fix it. That's not gonna fix it. Your singing your songs and you're loud praying like we some slaves, that's not gonna fix it. It doesn't matter what you do. The reaper is coming for your soul. Because you set them up. You set your own kids up. This is not about democracy. It's never been about democracy. It's been about money and real estate. These kids are nothing. They're just a part of what you're doing. They pieces on the chessboard. You move them around. This has been about money and real estate. And now our kids are caught up in it for whatever the reason. They're caught up in it for whatever the reason. And you don't care how the chips fall. Lisa Walden says HISD has had 5 years to fix the issues. Come on, TEA, do your thing. No, Lisa, they had 8 years. This started in 2015. It's 23. They had 8 years. And they've had almost 2 years with House. They've not closed the achievement gap. Just a whole bunch of people making a whole bunch of money. Kids are not getting what they need. But yet the board should not be taken out because our democracy will be lost. This ain't about democracy. You don't believe in what the founding fathers of this country built this country on. See, the American dream shall not be had unless it's surrounded by blood. The American dream shall not be had unless lives are lost. That's the way America has been built. That's the way it's been built. So what you did is you became a part of the problem. You became a part of the problem. And now parents want to know the truth. And I don't really think it's too many trustees I can trust that's going to tell the truth at this point. You have failed these children. You've grossly failed them. So now we need to have an old Negro revival and make people believe that if we get on a bus and eat some cold ass sandwiches and go down to Austin, that you can stop a takeover. You can't stop shit. It's a waste of time. Our focus needs to be as a community on fixing our schools because it's obvious that HISD doesn't give a damn. They're not going to fix them. They're not going to create a plan to fix them. So it's on the parents and the stakeholders. You know, the Minister Farrakhan says some things, a lot of things. And one thing he says, ain't nobody coming to help us. Ain't nobody coming to help us. We got to do this ourselves. These are our kids. These are our nieces and nephews. These are our grandkids. These are our neighbors. We have to do it. And it's more than enough of us that can craft a plan to fix our schools and then force the Houston Independent School District to do something about it while this dude is still in office making $400,000 a year and our kids don't get nothing out the deal. I really wonder why, Kendra, the trustee didn't mention that to you last night, that they renewed the superintendent's contract for an extra year.
You know,
Knowing,
that was the question that I was going to ask you. Withholding that information means what? Like, to me, if they renewed his contract, I would assume they're going to keep the board.
that they don't have, they can't say that. If it was up to them, they would throw Wheatley under the bus right now. But it's not their choice. It's TEA's choice. And TEA don't want to work with this superintendent. He threw him under the bus with the special ed kids at T.H. Rogers. They don't want to work with him. But I'm just saying that, why wouldn't they tell us this? Why would you not tell us this? But you know what? I'm going to look him in the eye right now. If TEA don't take you over, I'm going to have your ass shaking like a stripper at $2 Tuesday for the next year. Because I ain't got number time on my hand, knuckle.
What is your, like you said, the only people that can save us is us. So the only people that can come up with the solution is the community, because we already identified the problem. So with that being said, even if the even if the children were taken out of the schools, how would that resolve things? If the teachers left, how would that resolve things?
Well, you don't have to worry about the teachers ever coming out to schools, because if they strike, they can lose their certification. So they're not going to strike. Now, a paraprofessional, a teacher's aide that ain't got no certification,
right?
They can walk out that place all day long. They can't run no schools without them. But see, we're too busy playing games to come up with a viable plan to shake some shit up. They don't want to shake nothing up, King. That's why it's up to us as a community of people, Black, white, Latino, everybody, wrap our arms around our kids, because we're the only ones that can save them. I'm tired of listening to people that don't want to listen to me. I'm tired of listening to people that want to cut you off and think they know every goddamn thing, and they really don't know nothing. I bet you won't no trustee try to come up on here. I bet you won't no trustee try to have no conversation, open conversation with me on here. I don't care which one it is. I will eat your ass up. Because what you can't do, you can't retrain my mind. You can't make me think a certain way. You know, I think that the failure rate amongst the people in charge, whether it's the administration or the trustees, it now deems that a lot of people should resign their positions and get the hell on, because our kids shouldn't be going through nothing. They should not be going through anything. What's your opinion?
I would, like I said from the beginning, if I had the choice, if I had to make a decision, I dare not sacrifice 900 kids for 9 volunteers. I wouldn't do it. Now, to take Wheatley from Fifth Ward is to take the fabric of our community and pride out of our community. Our community is already facing displacement. One of our barriers, our hardships, is transportation. So if there's no Wheatley, imagine, like you said, we're going to create even more survivors. And to survive is to do it at any means necessary, which puts the children in danger. Because now they have to make decisions that they shouldn't have to make as children. They should just be going to school, walking to school. School should be convenient and school should be informative. But right now, that's not the option for the kids that we have at Wheatley. So to close our schools, to close our schools and not have a solution, I'm against it.
Now they got a solution. It's called a charter school.
No. The solution is to leave Wheatley open and to remove the board.
There
If
you
the
go.
board hasn't done, if the board, as a board, you're making decisions, you can pull these decisions up, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
We go and we look at what decisions have been made and by whom. If those decisions were not for us, then get rid of it. I think it's that simple. But to say we only have a decision of closing the school or having TEA take over without explaining, without making it elementary, which is either keep the 9 or get rid of the kids. So if the 9 that's on the board are saying get rid of Wheatley, and Wheatley is the only school that, to my knowledge, will be closed, yeah, you sacrificing my entire community.
But you got to remember, you got to think about how they're saying it. Some of them are not directly saying get rid of Wheatley. They're just saying we need to save HISD.
But that's
so
strategic.
People have to really understand when they say that, they're basically saying get rid of Wheatley.
So I would tell you at the beginning when I first heard it, most parents were coming to me saying, yes, we need change. But I was like, is the change good for the students? Because if the change is not good for the families, then we don't want TEA to take over. But if we have to let TEA manage to keep the school, so be it. I say keep Wheatley. I'm going to always say keep the Wildcats. We wake up purple. That's our pride. So what else do we have, and who's willing to stand up to assist the students once the kids remain in the school? Who's willing to come to the school to do tutorials, even though I found out it's funding for tutorials? So if we have funding for tutorials and the funding is not being utilized, and there's nonprofits that are out in the community finding volunteers to tutor, there's a problem.
Why do we need volunteers when these folk got $1.6 billion?
That's what I'm saying.
And that's ridiculous, man. But see, a lot of parents, they work late. They're not able to attend meetings. And I'm going to be honest with people. I was living in the suburbs, and I was one of those old uppity Negroes that just felt these parents didn't care. But then I moved back to the hood. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. Because I wanted to. And I started communicating with the parents. And then I saw, well, the reason that she can't come to all these PTO meetings because she's working 2 jobs. You know, stuff like that. And these people, that the parents will become disconnected, so they don't know all the inner workings of what these people are doing. You know, and what they have done, it's a travesty. It's a travesty to even put Wheatley in the position that it ain't even in the hands of them no more. It's time for all you motherfuckers to resign, man. It should have never gotten to this point. But see, you know what? Here's the biggest lie that's been told, Kendra. Oh, they get along. Motherfuckers don't get along. No, y'all don't get along.
I've been to a board. They don't. The board.
No. I'm talking about what we see in that boardroom. That's a facade. They don't get along. The racism is still there. They just know how to come out in front of cameras and not show it. Ain't nothing changed. That's why we're in the middle of this BS about our kids. I was talking to Pastor DZ Cofield, who supports a TEA takeover. He supports it. He say, let them take it over. And he had a charter school, and Terry Greer messed him out of his charter school. And he said, you know what? He asked him, he said, what I'm supposed to do with these kids? I got a building full of kids. What I'm supposed to do with them? Oh, let them go back to their home school. You say, Monroe, you know I done buried 5 of them kids. They not going back, man. They're not going back. But don't nobody give a damn about these kids to the level that they should. See, they could care less about our kids. You know why? Because they kids trust fund babies. They kids go to private schools. Everybody that's bumping their mouth, your kids that ain't living the life our kids live. Your kids ain't walking down Market Street to get to school or going down Cleburne to get to school. Your kids don't have to depend on free lunch to eat a meal at school. But you get to tell us what's best for us, and y'all keep fucking it up. Even Anime Bullock got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. I think this plan, well, I'm not going to, let me quit saying I think. I'm aware that this plan has been in place for quite some time. And even as they say, nobody shows up to the meetings, nobody shows up to PTA meetings. As I am a witness with a nonprofit that renders services in Fifth Ward, these mothers are doing graveyard shifts. So they're fighting to come home, get the kids up, and then get them to school. And no, all of them are not responsible, so we won't even play that game. But the majority of them, the parents that have hardships and barriers, that makes it difficult for them to get to the PTA meeting, makes it difficult for them to get to a board meeting. And if the board meetings are happening during the day, you're not going to get a turnout. Because our community is a community that was built for the working class to be of assistance. So we got the graveyard shifts and the hard shifts. So to have the kids go through what they're going to go through, what they've already been through, I don't support it. I say, and I will say, I'm saying it publicly, and I've said it behind closed doors, to keep 9 bodies in position instead of saving 900 future law-abiding citizens that we can raise together, teach together, I'm against it. I would rather go advocate for the children instead of advocating for 9 volunteers who are responsible for giving out information in a timely manner to make us proactive instead of reactive. And if I say it one more time, I'm so tired of fighting after the fight. We always swinging after we've been hit.
Why? As I was watching y'all last night, I think you asked the question, if there was a meeting and it had pastors and politicians, would the community be able to speak? And according to Ms. Buford Daniels, she said no.
That's correct. She said no. Too many.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, and listen, I do monthly bike tours. I don't allow politicians on my bike tours. When I come to meetings and I see that microphone is for the audience for 2 to 3 minutes, it's very annoying because no one can express themselves within 2 to 3 minutes. It's a cop out. So I don't like the 2 to 3 minute deal that they do. And the council members, the council meetings do it, commissioner meetings do it, as well as the HISD school board. It's in their rules to do so. It's not good for the parents who did have a chance to come out to express themselves. They can't gather all their thoughts and express themselves within 2 minutes of things that's happened within a month. So I'm against that. And to have a community meeting, I was saying don't bring them. But to be fair, the elected officials should be at the community meeting. And they should be in the position that the community is in when we're in their meeting. They get 2 minutes to speak, if we have time. if more than 10 show up, now you got a minute.
Exactly, because that's what she basically said last night.
Yeah.
If more than 10 of us show up, we only get a minute to speak. And I'm gonna tell you now, I got some pronouns. I got my own set of pronouns. I wish a motherfucker would. I'm not playing the game, man. I'm gonna show you something. Talk to him, King. I'm gonna show you something.
But it is. I think the community has always been left out of vital conversations. So that's why we are in the position that we are in now. So even when I'm speaking about Fifth Ward, I understand that this is going across District B. We're being displaced rapidly, and we're not paying attention to the lack of fair housing. So not only will the kids have to question where their schools are, I mean, if they can go to school, where will they sleep? There's too many fires for these babies to have to go up against by themselves. So the community needs to speak out and speak up. And the community needs to come together as one. And when I say the community, I mean the whole North Side. There should be one message from all of us going out about any concerns that's happening in District B. It's too many silos. It's too many cliques.
Well, you got silos in B, but you got silos all over the city in every district. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think God himself is tired of HISD. And now your karma is coming. Because the same way you try to shut us up, don't give us a voice, TEA is basically doing you the same way right now. They don't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. See, life comes in full circles. But when you had more than enough time to go and fix these schools, you chose not to do it. When we were coming to you and pleading with you and telling you our kids don't have anything, you just sat there. You ignored us. You had an attitude, or you had to report to your political daddy, your political pimp, before you could make a move. But now you want your voice to be heard. And the same people that you ignored are the ones that you're calling to the table and calling in front of Wheatley and calling to your rallies because you now need our voice. Well, excuse my French, Kenny, but if you can talk, Mr. Politician, HISD, with these nuts in your mouth, then I'll come and support you. You ain't gonna pimp me. You didn't want to hear my voice. And I thought about it today. Should I give him a pass? I'm pro-black. Nah, my mama say some days you gotta let them bump their head. It's gonna be a hard bump. Because as much power as you guys have had, you had the power to kick me out the boardroom. Your superintendent had the power to bar people from coming to meetings. Not the old one, the new one. Taxpaying people, this is what he did. So now you don't have the power. You don't have the power. I don't want to hear nothing about your Democratic elected board. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Because you shitted on democracy. That's what you did. And now you don't like the way that it's coming back to you. You don't like the way it's coming back to you.
So on your website, have you posted the votes from the board? From the trustees on how they voted? Oh yeah, that's just going looking at archive videos, and they show you every single item that they vote on and who votes for it. So to simplify, and then when I say simplify, is not to insult anyone. I like for it to be as simple as possible so the message can be understood. Right now, the question is: are we keeping 9 board members, or are we saving 900 plus children? I'm rocking with the kids.
I'm
Yeah.
rocking with the kids.
So when everybody, to me, I think this is another distraction because they love it. Distractions are thrown at us daily. So this is a distraction to me because to be outside screaming and hollering, save HISD, is to misinform the people because you're not trying to save HISD.
You're just trying to save the trustees and the superintendent.
And we want to save the children.
Well, I think, they'll probably start off with a old Negro spiritual Saturday.
We should be the first red flag. As soon as you hear the church song, it's to play with your heartstrings when you should be there to get down to business. And the business is we want our kids to utilize that building to its capacity and to have our resources rendered that's written within that budget.
Now, as you can see, I'm getting ready for Saturday too, because I got me a new megaphone. Either start telling the truth, let these people know where they at, or I'm finna fuck up the church's money. And I don't care. But I think we deserve the truth. Well, I know the truth. I think that the good people need to hear it. I mean, when I'm talking to you this morning, it was like it's like I was taking the air out of you, giving you the information.
Man, I couldn't believe it.
No.
Yeah. So I've always said the lack of knowledge will kill a community. It'll kill you. So to keep certain things from us and spoon feed us in a manner that you see fit is strategic to me. It's something that I've always been against. And my motto is each one teach one. So if we're teaching each other, we have to make sure it's clear and the message is understood. So I'm going to keep saying it throughout the whole time that I'm on this thing. The choice is to keep 9 board members or to keep the students.
Exactly. That's no matter how they try to spin it, it can't be both. So if you keep the 9 board members and the superintendent, Wheatley is done.
So this has nothing to do, to me, this has nothing to do with how real you are, how cool you are, how whatever. It's we do have some advocates on that board. But we need to be advocating for, to me, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. To put these children on a chopping block is to disrespect the community. And I am the community. I'm a part of the community. And my son is grown. So I don't have a child at Wheatley, but I have hands-on children at Wheatley, at NACU Henderson, these children are making adult decisions, and we're not even taking that into consideration. Half of these children are the ones that's going to find what we're going to eat tonight. And then they have to come to the school and be disrespected by staff, because even when I walked, now I'm not speaking on this year, but when I walked into Wheatley, you can see the separation from the administration and the kids, from the staff and the children. You can hear the children. The children will tell you that there's a separation. When we were in school, our teachers were...
I'm still here.
Our teachers were mothers, counselors, father figures, mother figures, counselors. It was just the culture. So to not preserve the culture is to kill the community. To not preserve the school is to kill the culture. So, I mean, I was at loss for words speaking with you this morning, because that was information withheld that I feel like it should have been on a billboard. A meeting should have been brought into any one of these schools in the district, in all the schools in the district, to make sure that everyone that will be impacted by this decision understood. But right now it's still confusing. So that's why I keep saying you're going to keep 9 members or you're going to keep the kids. It's one or the other. So I was confused until this morning because I don't speak on anything until I see the facts. So the facts were shown, the receipts were given. You only got 2 choices. So if Fifth Ward is on here, I'm telling you, the only choice is to choose the board members or the kids. To even get involved with this takeover, I feel like it's also a distraction. We should be sitting at a table creating a solution. The solution is teaching our own. Teaching the kids, teach the kids yourself. Anybody who knows me knows I have a community center and I kick the doors open to anybody that's coming in with an open mind, open heart, and solutions. The door is open to you. But to sit around and scream and holler or kick and cry about something that we cannot control is a waste of time. But to find a solution of what will we do with these babies, that's the table that I would like to sit at. A table of solutions. But no, I'm not going to be outside screaming and hollering or being ignored.
I mean, you in front of you would be in front of Wheatley.
So one thing,
who would you scream and holler at? Is nobody over there that can fix the problem?
So even before, I don't care where it is. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't play with props, photo ops. I'm not a photo op. I don't put my people in position to be photo ops. I don't take pictures with people for photo ops. We've never, my organization has never done that. So to be outside in front of Wheatley, the school that's on the chopping block, it seems as if it's a performance. I'm not sure who organized that. I don't know. But if you get people in front of Wheatley, to get them there is to teach them and not waste their time and to send a clear message that the school is going to close. If the school closes, we lose the community. If the school stays open, we get to have 9 amazing members on the board. What makes sense?
Somebody asked if I knew there was a board meeting night.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to go.
I didn't go to the board meeting.
Ain't no sense in me going. Let me tell you something, man. I could fix HISD in a heartbeat. They don't want no help. They think they know every damn thing, but they don't. So tonight was one of those nights. I just felt like sleeping in. I felt like sleeping in. And then I say, well, me and Kendra gonna do this video. And I'm good doing that.
So how many people on the average? Because I got people that have watched the board meeting while it's streaming, but they refuse to go into that building. And some of them, it's inconvenient to get to that building. So when the representatives are saying no one's showing up to the meetings, is it fair to say that nobody's showing up to the community? Because we lack knowledge too.
I'm going to put your comment up, bingo stripper, but I need you to understand something. And, hold on a second. I'm going to put your comment up. If the Wheatley community gave a damn about their school, it would have been fixed. They can't force HISD to fix shit. So what you basically telling me, I am that Negro that the Yates community don't give a damn about Yates. I fight for that school on my hospital bed. I show up every day. HISD did, and see, that's the problem right there. That is the problem. Thinking that these people don't care about their schools. They're not being informed on purpose. But like I said, this is the
But
reason.
allow Bingo Stripper to respond. So if we gave a damn about Wheelie, Wheelie would have been fixed, right? We don't have funding in our hand to say where that funding will go. We as a community do not sit at the table when decisions are being made. Instead, we wait until the decision is made and then on their timeline of telling us. So, Bingo Stripper, how would you fix the community? How would you fix Wheatley if you were part of the community? How would it be fixed? Because when people make comments, to me, this is how I look at life. If you're smart enough to identify the problem, you're smart enough to come up with a solution. So you identified the community as the problem. So what is your solution?
Bro,
Nothing.
it doesn't get any extra funding like that, though.
I'm just saying, like, it's easy to point fingers. Like I have people saying the community should have been fighting against the housing. Our fair housing has been there's been a strategic plan to get our Black and brown communities out of 610 if you're not paying attention. Housing vouchers are now accepted in the Woodlands, Atascocita, Umber, Pearland, and Sugarland. They were never accepted, but they're accepted now. Because you know why? We're in a convenient spot now. And this is what they want. So if they want the land, they want the schools, and we have to connect the dots. So who's actually sitting in a position to advocate for the people and to speak for the people? So when I see comments that point fingers in that manner, I then be quiet so I can hear the solution. Because I know if you're intelligent enough to tell us how we failed, that means you're intelligent enough to tell us how to succeed.
Now, let me ask you a question. With you saying that, I'm telling you this morning that the board need to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you why they need to go, but I'm also telling you what we need to do to fix the schools. I don't sit on the school board. I wanted to. I think you would have been proud of me as a school board member because there's nothing I was going to do without communicating with my community.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And guess what I would have did? Stepped on them other 8 toes. Why? Because I'd have been all up in your community. Because I'm just on the board from District 9. But I represent 196,000 kids. So wherever them kids located, that's where Gary Monroe would have been going.
But that's why you're not on the board. So
No.
if you lack fear, no, they don't want you on the board. If you lack being controlled, no, they don't want you on the board. I've had so many doors slammed in my face, so it doesn't even bother. My nose is motivation to me. It doesn't even bother me anymore. I want to see the group of people, and I could care less where you come from. You don't have to be in District B to come with a solution for people that look like you. That for people that are now in a position that may resonate with you. We don't have to look like each other to help each other. What is the solution?
There it is.
What is the solution to get these babies on track?
We can talk about the problems all day long.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
But
I want a
until we
solution.
start talking about the solutions, and let me tell you something. There's some great people that's watching. You got Bingo Stripper. You got my friend Robin. I had never met her. She showed up at a board meeting. Older white lady gave me a hug from Bel Air. So to hell with what people say about white folk from Bel Air. I'm rocking with them. They treat me with respect. I will stand up for their children. I'm probably the only African American outside of that situation with the Bel Air baseball team that has shown up at a Bel Air baseball game to support the children. I don't give a damn what these grown folk think. And that's the problem. We got too many chiefs and not enough Indians. But you know when you become a good chief? When you had, how my daddy used to say it, you become a great chief when you've been a great Indian. But while you were being a great Indian, you had chief tendencies the whole time.
That's true.
Leaders ain't born, they bred, man. They're bred. Leaders, true leaders, are thoroughbreds. And leaders from the great institution of Phyllis Wheatley, and if I get it wrong, you fill me in, the great Barbara Jordan wouldn't put up with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey Leland would not put up with this shit. You feel what I'm saying?
No, I get it. And we standing by as now I'm not gonna say we standing by as a community and we're not doing anything. We're standing by as a community trying to figure out what we can do. So to go to the community meeting on the 26th, I support it. I'll share the flyer. I will host a community meeting. When I return in April, I'll host a community meeting the second week of April, and I'll share the flyer with you so you can share it. And the only people at that meeting should be those with open minds and willing to say, to speak up with the solution that they have came up with for a community. Because, to save Wheatley is to give hope to everybody in HISD. To save Wheatley is to create a blueprint for others. Because to kill Wheatley is definitely going to be a domino effect of burdens for everybody else.
But
in HISD.
This is what you do when you kill Wheatley. When you just say, just close Wheatley. Okay, so what happens if Cashmere flunks the test?
So we should
just close Cashmere? What happens if Yates flunks the test again? Oh, we just need to close Yates? You just said it. It starts a domino effect. And you ain't closing nothing. The parents have already spoken. The signatures are already at TEA. Oh, they don't know about the signatures.
Oh, the signatures were being collected, a year ago, 2 years ago? I had clipboards collecting signatures. So there's no signatures that need to be collected. Janice Thomas met the quota. She did.
God bless Janice Thomas. Because I didn't know Janice Thomas, and that it was the first day of school. I remember it. It was the first day of school. And normally everybody goes to their old high school on the first day to welcome the kids back. So all my Yates people calling me, and I'm like, I'm not coming today. But dude, you here every year. Man, I'm in the middle of Providence Street helping these Wildcats get these signatures, man. We got to keep the doors open on that school. You feel what I'm saying? The only conversation that need to be had right now is what do we need to do to fix our failing schools? Because it's obvious that the people that make the decisions don't know what to do. So how in the hell you not going to come to the community? How in the hell you not going to listen to us? Oh, well, so-and-so, they got a PhD. We got more PhDs in the community than you could ever imagine.
We lacking transparency within the community. That's what we lack. We lack transparency from our elected officials. We lack consistency and transparency. That's our problem. And we fail to realize that we elect these people, and these people should be held accountable.
Well, there was one major inconsistency that was discussed last night, and I heard Sister Kathy love her to death. They went to war with her many days. But the one thing I'm doing, I'm giving checkups from the neck up. I ain't letting nobody just say something and it's not right. That's why I got me a new bullhorn, because the old one started malfunctioning. So I needed another one. You feel what I'm saying? The inconsistency that really stuck out to me was TEA is not going to come to a community meeting. Well, when AJ Crable was in Houston coming back and forth, anytime you asked Crable to come to a meeting, he was there. And TEA not going to come to a meeting. TEA been in our board meetings for the last 5 years.
I think he was at a meeting for Miss Janice. I believe he was at a meeting at Kashmir Multi-Service Center one Saturday, and I attended that meeting. So if TEA is not willing to talk to the people that they will impact, we're in even more trouble. So
I'm looking for something.
I don't know. I don't know if Miss Kathy I can't say. I could just say exactly what she said. She said that they wouldn't come. I would still send an invite to them to come to my community meeting because the people that are impacted want to hear from those that will be doing the impacting. So they will have to tell us no themselves that they're not going to attend the meeting, but the invitation will be extended.
Let's try this here. So AJ Crable would not come to a community meeting.
Mm-hmm.
This is AJ Crable.
Mm-hmm.
At a community meeting I went to. Where the lie at? Ain't nothing to tell a lie. I can pull up several meetings that Crable was at. He didn't have a problem coming. He didn't have a problem answering the tough questions. And he told you the truth about what was going on. So to lie and say TEA will not come, that's the narrative they want to spin. They want you to think a certain way. But ain't no, that's AJ Crable. That's AJ Crable right there at a community meeting. So that's a lie. Hold on a second.
Let me see.
We can get this straight.
I'm looking for him now.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. I'm gonna show you better.
He just had a book out. He just wrote
it's another meeting that Crable was at. This is a meeting in Fifth Ward that Crable was at.
Well, in the same way that we have research that speaks to that for teachers.
So why would you tell people the lie? You see what I'm saying? So this is why they don't want us to speak. Because they want to say what they want to say and they want to lie. They're misinforming the people for their own self-gain. TEA got no problem coming to me. TEA gangsters. They'll show up and don't care. But the thing is HISD, you gave them the ammunition. You set the table. And you made our kids the menu.
You know what? I spoke with him last week. He wrote a book called Why School Boards Fail, how yours can become effective. So it says great on their behalf. And it's available March 28th.
You know how school boards
he'll be in attendance. I think if we reached out, I don't believe we would be denied. But I say we have no choice but to invite elected officials and TEA, because these are the people that make the decisions. So then they get to speak to the people that they chose to impact in this manner. So this is not a matter of do I like any of the trustees or not. That's not the issue.
I don't like some of them.
But that's not like liking is not my concern. Business is my concern. The business is save 9 or kill 900. That's it.
Exactly.
So
we're not gonna let them 900 die.
Makes the most sense. Give the children another fighting chance or save 9.
On the 26th of March, we're gonna have our very first community meeting at BH Ranch in Armclaw. It can hold up to 5,000 people. My man Sam Harris, who's a great advocate in the community, has graciously donated this facility for us to be able to have this meeting, because Sam's very concerned about the violence that could happen if these schools close. So it wasn't a stretch for him to donate it to us. After that, we're going to go to Fifth Ward. We're going to have a meeting in Fifth Ward. It is a community meet. So I'm going to tell you before you come, Mr. Politician.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Monroe gets to decide how much time you get to speak. And if more than 10 politicians show up, you're only going to get a minute. What's good for us is good for you. You really need to sit there with a pad and a paper, paper, pen, whatever. And you need to start taking notes. Because when you start thinking that you're the biggest fish in the pond, you need a new pond, man. You need a new pond. You're not smarter than everybody else. And you're protecting your political interests while you're silencing the community. You make people think that these people don't know what's best for their children. And I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to mine, ain't nobody making a decision for mine. That's my job. That's my job. And I know what's best. I knew what was best for mine when they were in the school system. And I wasn't playing with the school system. Me being who I was, raising the hell that I raised, and I knew the type of games that they played, I made it real clear that if you ever bother my child, it's going to get real personal real fast. You keep your scope aim on me. But if you go and you bother my child, I'm going to forget I'm an advocate, and I'm going to forget I'm an activist. And I'm going to remember I come off of Calumet Live Oak. So I'm not going to play the game. Right now, any lie that's being told, so be it. What I would tell the people, don't attend a rally that's not going to help you. We need to be organizing and strategizing on how to fix our schools. That's what we need to do. You need to go walk your school and find out what your kids need.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find out what your kids need. We need to find out where all this money done went that's supposed to be helping our children. But yet it ain't showing up. A RISE campus. The RISE campus is doing worse than the regular campuses. I don't care how much resources you pour into a school. If you don't have a verifiable plan that it can work, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
What is a RISE campus?
A RISE campus is a failing school that's supposed to get better teachers, more money, more resources, the whole 9 yards.
Where did that program come from?
North Carolina. It was called the LIFT program. That was a complete, utter failure under Denise Watts, who's the chief of schools right now for HISD.
Who has the power to put that program into play for HISD?
The superintendent.
Did they have to be voted on?
Yes, by those. The superintendent can't do anything unless those 9 people vote for it. And out of those 9, they need at least 5 votes. They need at least 5 votes. So it's no way in hell that somebody can justify to me why this man's contract got extended by a year when our kids are suffering and not getting nothing. Why? You know why?
No one's holding him accountable.
They want a bond, Kendra.
Mm.
They need a bond. They need to get that 1.5 billion. They need to peel that money. But yet, you got schools that's mold infested. You got schools that got asbestos in them. You got schools that don't have mental health counselors. But yet you say these are the things that we need in our schools. This is what HISD says we need.
What will the bond be used for? Supposedly
to build schools. Rebuild schools that need to be rebuilt. We don't need to be talking about a bond.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
What students will benefit from those schools, though? Because that's one of my questions that I've always asked. When you show us what you're going to destroy, you should show us what you will restore before the construction. So if you're going to displace these kids by closing this school, what will we do to restore? Where will they go?
They don't give a damn where they go.
You can't come in here and say what you're going to destroy without coming in here with a plan to restore. So you can't just subtract without a plan to restore. So we have no plan for the families that will be displaced if our school closes.
None. Think about it like this. They're not giving us one.
We don't have a building in Fifth Ward to put those children in until we figure out where they will go or how they will get there if their school is closed. So how dare you say close the school or save HISD?
A big old stripper say they're planning to consolidate Yates and Wheatley. That would never work.
Now who would think? Now I would say this. To consolidate Yates and Wheatley is to consolidate Kelly Court and CUNY Homes.
Not gonna work.
Just silly. It's no way that is the plan or that plan was even thought out. Yates and Wheatley has always been community rivals, and it's always been a game that everybody wanted to attend, everybody loved to dress up for, and the spirit has always been like nobody thought that through. So I won't even entertain consolidating Yates and Wheatley. How will you get who's gonna travel where? Will the Wheatley students travel to Yates, or will the Yates students travel to Wheatley? Either way, it's gonna collide. It's gonna collide.
That's a nuclear war. That's a nuclear war.
It doesn't even make sense. So to give that as a response is again disrespectful to the community, to both communities. That shouldn't even be a response. Or that shouldn't even be, I wouldn't even entertain that, and I'm not entertaining that.
Well, you can't entertain it. It makes more sense to consolidate Wheatley and Cashman.
Who's gonna entertain that? You?
No, Gary Monroe ain't, because I ain't finna sit here. No,
I'm not entertaining that. So I'm not even gonna respond. I'm done with that because that's another way to say we don't care. Let them kill each other. Because the rivalry will turn into something bigger and it won't be a healthy rivalry. Like right now, it's healthy. But to do that will make it unhealthy. Like, cut it out. That's not even an option. That can't even be an option. No. I remember they were saying that they considered opening CUNY Homes up and allowing those that would be displaced from CUNY Homes from Kelly Village to freely move into CUNY Homes. And I said, yeah, right. That's to create a war zone. It's not going to happen.
Well, you know what? I want to thank you for taking the time out to come on the show. You're welcome to come back anytime you get ready. You talk about whatever you want to talk about. We definitely got to bring you back to talk about your run against Tasha Jackson, who's basically bought and paid for by Top, who's controlled by Rodney Ellis. We need better representation in District B, District B, and District 2. 2 is the school board and B is the city council. We need better representation. You see what I'm saying? But for the grassroots soldiers that's out there, you finna be called to a meeting. And it's time for us to stand up for our kids. Whether it's against TEA, whether it's against HISD. It's time for us to stand up for our children and for our grandchildren. Because I'm getting older, I probably won't be here in about 30, 40 years. I probably will not be here. But my grandkids will. And they need something. They got to have something to lean on. And a quality education will probably help them more than anything that you could ever imagine. But I want everybody to understand that this can be a very diverse fight for a reason. Because a takeover won't just affect the Black neighborhood. It'll affect the white neighborhoods too. So don't think that you're going to be spared in this. Magnet parents, don't think that if they take over, you're going to be spared in this, because a whole bunch of the magnets gone. They'll be gone. Transportation will be gone. And when it's all said and done, we have to continue living here after all the mistakes that these people have made. No. In the words of Anna Mae Bullock, you can take everything. I just want my name. And the name of Phyllis Wheatley ain't going nowhere. The name of Evan E. Worthen High School. Evan E. Worthen is different than all of these schools, because Evan E. Worthen was a white man that believed in that community, and he built that school with his own money. HISD didn't even think that the kids needed a school. As far as those down there with the crimson and the gold on, let's get this straight. We're ready to die for ours. We ain't letting the good reverend go out in vain. Ain't gonna happen. So you can go play politics all you want, but don't you never come down to 3650 Alabama playing with us, because we ain't finna play the game. And down there, we got an army that's led by a 5-star general. If you want this smoke, you can get it. But I think we have identified the enemy. We have identified the enemy, and the enemy is in our own backyard. It's in our own backyard. So is it the white folk that's trying to destroy our schools? Is it the Republicans that's trying to destroy our schools? Or is it really y'all who got your hand in gentrification and all this other stuff that's going on? Everything you people touch generates money. And I don't really care how much money you make, as long as you take care of the people. Money come with the game you play. Money come with politics. So if you make $4, $5 million a year, I could care less. I don't need, like tonight, my good friend, State Rep Ron Reynolds and Sylvester Turner will be on our Isaiah Factor. Turner, why would you be on the Isaiah Factor? Is it true or not that TEA came to you, Mayor Turner, and asked the city of Houston to take the schools? And what did you tell them? They say you can take them, you can get aboard, you can be the one to fix it. Turner, did you care enough to accept the offer? You told them no. And now you want to stick your nose in our business. No, the people will be heard starting on March 26th. It's on a Sunday at 2 p.m. at BH Ranch. We'll be spreading the flyer around. But when you come, and if you want to speak, you will be heard. But we need to come and talk about solutions. That's what we need to do. We need to find ways to fix our schools. We need to make sure we got the best teachers. We need to make sure that we got the best staffs in our school. We need to make sure we got the best programs. We got everything that our kids need. Because if we don't, me and Kendra and Nikki and Houston Teachers United and Lisa Walton, we ain't in trouble. Them kids are. Somebody got to put the kids first. And it's obvious that the politicians ain't. Until tomorrow, if I decide to come on, because Friday is a homework day. So if I finish my homework, then I'll come on. If not, I'll see you Monday for spring break. And to my kids out there, you got one more day left this week. Go and be great at what you do. Go out on spring break. Be smart about where you need to be and the people that you are around so that you can make it back to school and finish the year. We've seen worse days. But I tell you what, academically, athletically, there's a basketball team that's in San Antonio right now. Beaumont United. Their school district was taken over by TEA. And they are right now going for the third one. But they are the two-time defending state champions in basketball. Sometimes takeovers creates superpowers academically, and they create superpowers athletically. It is what it is. And they have improved, just like Nikki said. They have improved. So we can't keep doing this, but at the same time, it's time for us to take control of our children's futures because we've trusted these people long enough. Until tomorrow, or maybe Monday, it's the war zone. And I'm the 5-star general. Thanks to my new friend, Kendra London. Thank you for taking the time out to come hang out with me.
Thank you for having me.